Cybersecurity is a terrible space to try to start a business in because it is very crowded, but there's so much opportunity there. I'm always an optimist, and I always think that there's enough for everybody to be able to share the wealth and enjoy it, as long as our end goal is to protect that end client.
Welcome to the Growth Stack, the show where we explore how great companies grow smarter and faster through better technology and talent. Today, I'm joined by McKinley from USX Cyber. USX Cyber helps organizations strengthen their cyber readiness with practical security operations, compliance support, and incident preparedness. Cole, welcome to the show.
Thanks a little for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, it's great to chat with you. So I like to start these off with the guest yourself, giving a little background about yourself and how you came to be working at USX.
Yeah, thank you. So my background's a little interesting. I started off joining the Air Force, the Air National Guard, as a combat engineer. And then I learned how to do everything from drywall to putting in ductwork. But then an IT job came open within the help desk of my base. And I've always been interested in computers, but that was the first opportunity that someone gave me a shot. So the Air Force ended up selecting me for that position and then sending me to get trained in Security Plus, CEH, and I just fell in love with cybersecurity from there. And then from there, I've moved on to be a government contractor for various organizations. And then I got reached out to from a friend, previous mentor that was with USX Cyber, and they asked me to join the team as a engineer of the tool platform. And it turned out that we had some issues with that third-party tool platform. And I, oddly enough, said that let me try to build something separate. And they gave me a shot. So we built Guardian, and I was the lead architect and designer behind that tool platform. And now here we are trying to offer a competitive solution in this marketplace to secure our clients and make sure that they're meeting all their compliance frameworks.
Great. Thank you for that. So talk more about what USX Cyber does, how you may differ from other cybersecurity companies. Share some about that.
Yes, sir. So USX Cyber started off with trying to offer a cybersecurity platform like an XDR, like CrowdStrike or whatever name that you know in the industry that does antivirus and everything, but built for the SMB client. So we've seen this real need that things were not approachable, not really that affordable, and the SMB space was largely unguarded, but suffering the most severe attacks when it comes to that cyber threat. So we wanted to build that along with a SOC as a service included in our solution so that we could monitor and help these organizations. And then we started to notice a lot of conversations were leading to, hey, I really am only looking at a solution because my insurance provider is making me, or I have to get SOC 2 certified, or I have to get CMMC certified. So we're like, okay, so we must align well to these frameworks. Let's take a look at that. So then we built around trying to focus on those compliance heavy related industries, because with my background with the US government, I've been doing government audits for as long as I can remember, and I kind of know how to play the game. So I wanted to build a solution that offered an easy as mostly turnkey solution as I could for these SMBs to be able to successfully pass these audits. So now USX Cyber has a stance that we want to be the CrowdStrike mixed with the Vanta solution to the marketplace, that you don't have to buy 9 to 12 different security tools to be able to pass these audits, but one security stack so that you're protected and passing those compliance audits.
Audit usually is not a fun word. The connotation of that I don't think brings much joy outside to auditors. I've been a part of some organizations where I've had to answer some questions relating to I don't know if it was necessarily a security audit, but that was a part of it, I guess. What is a typical audit process like for, one of your customers?
Yeah, so they vary a little bit in framework, but most audit structures out there are built on something called NIST 800-171 or NIST 800-53, where they're looking to make sure that you are doing your due diligence as a business and putting security practices in place to help protect your data as well as your client's data. So what we do is we have our security stack that fills the technical controls, like making sure that you have antivirus, making sure that you're logging certain threats that are coming in. But then on top of that, we also handle all the documentation. So I'm really weird. I love documentation, not something that most enjoy, but I've always enjoyed
No.
creating policies and procedures and these sorts of things. So setting that up for a business that's not going to be super impactful, but be really effective is our specialty. And then, just as they go through the audit, they're going to be checked and they have to provide proof that they're doing these sorts of things. So that's when we decided to build the GRC piece, is to collect that evidence that shows that, yes, we are meeting these
Mm.
various standards that you're requiring us to meet. So when it comes to an audit, they're mainly looking at three things. What are you doing? How are you doing it? And show me proof that you are doing it. So we try to
Mm.
answer those three main questions depending on the framework.
So is this a week-long process? Is this a month-long process?
Yeah. Well, hopefully for most of them is about a week, generally really
Okay.
intensive, but some others can take more time. It really depends on how far in the weeds the auditor's looking to get into your organization. But most of them, you can expect about a week long process.
I want to jump back a little bit. Your
Please.
ideal customer, you're saying small businesses. So I know like I worked at big companies, 15,000 employees, right? I
Mhm.
at my level, never had to think about that.
Of course.
Security was certainly discussed. Every developer, there was some training around it, but on the audit side, no, it was never in my purview.
Yes.
Clearly a company of that size has the budget and personnel to handle security type stuff. So when we're talking a small business, how small are we talking?
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. So most of the enterprise solutions, they have a variety of products to choose from. They have the budgets to buy whatever they see fit to meet the standard. And they generally have internal IT teams that will run and manage these sorts of programs and allow their other employees to focus on building client relationships, manufacturing
Yeah.
products, whatever it may be. Where SMBs are kind of behind the eight ball is that usually it's, a handful of employees. There no internal IT, and now they have to be cybersecurity experts overnight. And if they're putting focus on that, then they're not putting focus on their business, what they're actually set to do, manufacturing, providing service, whatever that may be. So USX Cyber is built in a way to scale up and down as much as we possibly can. So we have clients that just happen to be two people in the
Really?
manufacturing business making highly specialized parts, all the way up to a few hundred employees or college
Oh, wow.
universities providing solutions for that. But we figured that the people on the higher end, they have the option of choice in a lot of it, where people at the lower end don't. So that's why we try to focus our messaging of, hey, there are solutions out there tailored to your unique needs at a smaller scale.
Yeah, I know, like, personally, I've built web applications as a part of a triathlon club, and one of the things is we have certain sensitive information. I'm not a security expert.
Yeah.
That's a challenge, but I also know from my career, we need to keep people's data safe. Over the years, say over the last, let's just say 5-10 years, we've heard of companies like Target and some of these bigger companies that I'm sure all of us have had our data exposed at one point from one of these companies.
Yeah.
What is there something that they are doing wrong? Can we get away from or, avoid all these intrusions?
Right. So no solution is going to stop everything 100%, because with enough persistence and time, something's going to make its way through. Even at USX Cyber, we can't guarantee that if you run our platform, you'll never have a cyber incident. But what we can do is we can work to make sure that your business is harder to get into and to give up and move on to the easier target. So it can be as simple as just one employee misclicking an email at Target or big
Sure.
corporations, and all of a sudden major repercussions. But it's how quickly you're able to mitigate that threat, to stop it, and minimize your damage, and get the business back up and running. Most SMBs have no protections in place. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And so one misclicked email could ruin 40 years of business up to that point, because the ransomware is more than you can afford, and you just lost your business because you happen to click on a bad email. So why a solution like us is kind of important, but I get it. I always equate us to like insurance. Everybody needs it, but nobody wants to pay for it. It's
Yep.
always overhead, and you don't really realize how important it is until a bad event occurs. But that's kind of what we're trying to change out there. It's just helping you do your due diligence so the event that there is something, you're able to minimize its impact. But I will say also we're seeing a big change in the market to where AI is here and there's no getting that genie back in the bottle. But what it's really done is it's really decreased the cost of entry for creating these terribly malicious attacks.
Oh, wow.
Previously, up until now, you had to have a good, strong IT knowledge. You had to work years to find
Mm,
exploits and be able to craft these things in a way that could really do harm. Where now, 15 minutes and access to ChatGPT, you could create a nasty bug that could have real bad impact and be launched
wow.
against several different targets. So I think you're seeing more and more newsworthy events because it's just easier to craft nastier problems.
That's scary. I know from like when I think about AI, one of the concerns I have is what jobs will it replace?
Of course.
If you're using it, the concept of it providing false information, hallucinations, not so much from a bad actor point of view that it's going to be
Right.
used in that kind of way, and clearly people are doing that, and it just provides more access to anyone. If there's different like Claude code and stuff that can help you write code, why can't it not help you write malicious code, I guess?
Exactly.
Wow.
I'm sure you're familiar with the term, but software as a service, getting
Yeah.
somebody to build you applications on demand, there's a whole market for malware as a service so that most people don't realize. So even if you decide to go the pay route, you could pay somebody to create the craft for you. And generally, they're using these AI based tools to do that.
So the upside of this negativity is
Mhm.
that you guys seem to have more and more customer. The market seems to be growing for you.
Yes, unfortunately, not that I ever like to leverage scare tactics to try
Yeah.
to, convince somebody, but it's just identifying that there are tons of problems out there. And again, cybercrime appears to, as of now, be majority a crime of opportunity. So they like to go for
Mhm.
low-hanging fruit and they like to hit hard and fast. So what we attempt to tell people is just, put the box around your business, make it a little bit more difficult for them to get in yours than your neighbors. And generally, they'll pass you over and hit your neighbors.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense if you're gonna if in the cyber world, but just if someone wanted to rob a house and you hear a dog in this house and you don't in this house,
Right.
which one are you going to?
Of course.
Yeah, some basic things there. So are you guys using AI in some ways to maybe help build out your software? How's that involved?
Yes. So everybody wants AI in everything. And I think we're getting there, but I still think that it's not a substitute for people fully yet. But we are using AI to help. For an example, all of our critical alerts pass through an AI to determine guardrails to put up to help our analyst team. It does the lookups, the
Mm,
Googling that historically our analyst team had to do and
sure.
take time to look things up. AI does on an instant. But the final call is still at USX Cyber, at least, left up to an analyst to be able to decide how hard to react to the threat so that we can mitigate the potential false positives, stopping your day to day business operations if an AI happened to get something wrong. So we're using it in collaboration with people. And I think that's the best part at the moment. But we're seeing a real ramp up in it, and we want to stay on that leading edge of technology and try to figure out, okay, if the bad guys are using AI to write bad code, how do we get the AI to do us good and stop that bad code? So I
Right.
think within the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see most products are you got a bad AI trying to get in and a good AI trying to stop it, and they're just banging heads all day long till one wins. So I think that's the inevitability.
You're saying that my son's just been watching, my 10-year-old's been watching like all the Star Wars movies,
Ah, yeah,
the good versus evil kind
yeah.
of. Wow. So, how big is your company now in terms of staff?
Yeah, so we're pretty small at the moment. So we're under 15 people, but we're hoping to grow and keep advancing. Of course, AI helps us stay lean and mean when it comes to supporting our bevy of clients and customers, but we also work a lot with partners. So we understand that cybersecurity should be a layered approach. We're not trying to be out there replacing your MSP or, helping other things. We focus 100% on cyber and compliance, and we're more than happy to work with other parties involved to make sure that that organization has a complete solution around them and the support they need.
Where do you find your customers, or how are they finding you?
Yeah, great question. And I wish I had the secret to tell, but I would say sales and marketing is rough. At USX Cyber, we're still trying to get the word out to be known more in the space, but we go a lot based off referrals from our current clients. We try to join different industry organizations. So the majority of our customer base is manufacturers, and the manufacturers, trying to gain their trust and approval is a difficult process. We really have to earn that, and I respect that. But we try to do that by integrating ourselves into different organizations to kind of prove that we are there to support the community as well as not only try to win some business.
So have you at USX made the conscious decision to kind of target manufacturers, or you're going out there and it just so happens that the people really responding to you are manufacturers?
Yeah, so I would say more of the latter, where we just kind of fell into meshing well with manufacturing. So there's this certification called CMMC, and every DoD supplier will need to be CMMC certified at one point. And, that impacts tons of manufacturers across our nation. And they generally haven't at this time has put much effort into cybersecurity or really thought about it from a business standpoint. And now they have to meet all these crazy requirements of different things. So you're seeing a lot more that don't have internal IT teams looking to outsource that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how we kind of fell into that. And then just by word of mouth from various manufacturing partners, and we partnered with people like the state MAP's office, which stands for Manufacturing Extension Partnership. They offers resources to that group, and they've kind of helped spread the word about us, and we've just been running with it since.
Now, earlier you mentioned, I think one of your clients was a university.
Mhm.
So that is, a state or, state funded, I'm guessing, unless it's a private institution. But are you for private companies? Do you also target kind of government
Yeah.
related industry? I mean, with your background, I don't know if that helps or not. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're mostly in the commercial space. Our product
Okay.
isn't ramped, which is needed to do work directly with the government. Something we've looked into, but just haven't found a suitor that wanted to take a shot on us yet. But so we're mainly focused on supporting commercial companies that do work with the federal government and other mass companies that have SOC 2 needs. I mean, everybody's looking at the SOC 2 certification these days. So that one's really popular, but really is the CMMC thing has been our biggest focal point made people want to check us out and learn more.
Got it. Okay. Now, do you have like offshore or contractors that you work with who are even maybe US contractors? So if you said earlier that when you're working with a client, you could scale up, scale down depending on the needs of that client. I'm guessing if you're scaling up, maybe you need more resources.
Yeah. So with the industries that we align to, all of our analyst team is 100% US based. Not all frameworks require this, but some do. So we wanted to make sure we had that offering. Now, when it comes to development support or maybe additional one off projects that aren't related to our clients' data and information, we have used offshore resources in the past to kind of assist with some of our development time cycles, but we try to handle as much in-house as we can, and then we look to get the support from many of our great neighbors out there that will offer that up at a moment's notice.
Does it matter if you're like looking in South America or India or Europe? I think Ukraine has a lot of resources as well.
Yeah, so we have no real bias. Usually the project or the capability at the time drives where we get more attention from. I will say we've had great success we have a resource right now in the Philippines who assists with some of
Mhm.
our web development, and he's been wonderful. We've also worked with people in Spain and in many different other areas in the past. And it's really about if you can talk nerdy tech stuff, we're going to be best friends, no problem.
If we look 3 years from now, where does USX want to be?
Yeah, so we hope to be the premier trusted CMMC solution, along with just whenever anybody thinks about, oh, I need security and compliance, USX comes to mind specifically for the SMB space. And we really want to hold a foothold there because we we feel like they either get taken advantage of or they have no option. Unfortunately, heard a lot of businesses are shutting doors with this new compliance requirement. They're getting out of doing work with the government, or they're moving to a different market because they think it's just too expensive for them to get these certifications
Mm,
and accreditations. So we kind of want to offer a lifeline saying it doesn't have to be that way. You just got to find solutions like
yeah.
ours that will be able to get you there affordably and efficiently without breaking the bank.
So what do you think it's going to take to get to that point?
The honor of being on this podcast. I mean, just sharing this good word and trying to reach out to people. And we're constantly releasing press releases and trying to attend different events and really just sharing the name. Cybersecurity is a terrible space to try to start a business in because it is very crowded, but there's so much opportunity there. And I'm always an optimist, and I always think that there's enough for everybody to be able to share the wealth and enjoy it, as long as we're end goal is to protect that end client. I want you to choose what you think's best for your business and your organization. I will never say, yeah, well, we'll cut the price just so you pick us. No, I want to
Yeah.
offer you a viable solution.
Yeah, and it seems easier and easier to start a company, a tech company now, because there's AI that people are getting involved without, years of studying
Yeah.
the traditional way of computer science and learning how to code and
Yes.
all of
A lot of
this.
high
So
coded applications.
yeah, I see enough YouTube ads for that stuff, so there'll never be a shortage of more companies to deal with, and so that's great. And your challenges now, is that on the reaching out? Is that on the tech side? Where is that?
Oh, I wish I had the solution for this one, because I would say what I see as the main problems is, again, just that marketability, trying to find a voice in a crowded space. You hit the nail on the head. Every day there's some new AI wrapper software out there. So just trying to compete against the fly by night companies that are looking to solve a quick solution with maybe not truly market tested product. And then, just trying to communicate the messaging without trying to scare people. We want to change how people look at cybersecurity from being this boogeyman in the closet to being more like a utility for your business. You
Mm,
need electricity, you need water, you need these things to run your business. Cybersecurity, unfortunately, and nowadays needs to be considered one of those utilities of just that protection piece that wraps around it and kind of supports your organization.
right. So as we're coming towards the end, do you have a takeaway for maybe some of your customers?
That's a great question. I think the big takeaway is that compliance is here. Compliance is going to stay. Even with the government being shut down, it hasn't slowed a lot of the requirements when it comes to that. Even insurance providers nowadays are making you fill out deep questionnaires and doing some lightweight pen
Mm,
testing on your business before they will write you a cyber insurance policy because they're paying them out too often. So I think things are going to continue to get more restrictive, and you really have to prove that due diligence that you've done at least the bare minimum, whether that's with a third party product like ours or is handling it in house. It's just something to consider when you're going day to day is, am I doing my due diligence to protect not only my business, but my clients' information? I feel like the United States as a whole is just desensitized nowadays because every week it's like, yeah, your information was stolen here, your information was stolen there. It's like, okay, everybody has it at this point. What's the worry? But it is a real worry, and you should be good stewards of your client's information. And if you're not at least having those conversations right now, you should.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If I was a customer of a company and that company is getting hacked more frequently, or you just hear about it more, they don't take security as serious as maybe the competitor, they're going to lose business. Like,
Right.
this is not, it's not just, customer data is exposed. It's going to hurt your business if, you don't take this seriously. Very important. And it's good to know that they don't even have to do it themselves, that they have partners like USX that could help them make their lives safer, easier, and reduce the worry, I guess, would
Yes,
be.
sir. Our big tagline is we help you sleep at night because you don't have
Yeah.
to stress out about it all the time.
And I mean, that just instantly makes me think of like all the security companies, the cameras, the rings,
Mhm.
and not just the traditional, what is
Like
the
ADT
home
or
security, ADT, yeah,
yeah.
ADP, which is the payroll provider.
Yeah, yeah.
ADT, I've used them before. That's the whole point, is that you're inside your house, you don't have to worry about it. There's someone actively guarding your house in a way. There's cameras and such. Well,
Exactly.
Cole, I really appreciate the chat today. Moving forward, should people get a hold of you? Should they get a hold of Contact USX Cyber? How should people get in touch with you guys? And where can they find you
Great, thank you.
or
Yes.
USX Cyber?
Yes. So please feel free to reach out via the website. There's tons of call to actions on there that you'll be able to find to input your information, but connect with me on LinkedIn. There's not too many Cole McKinleys out there that you'll run into, but feel free to do that. Follow our USX Cyber page. I'm sure we're on all the socials as well, but the main point is if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to me directly via LinkedIn or send us an email at info@usxcyber.com. And we'd be more than happy to set up a quick call and have a chat.
Perfect. Well, it was a pleasure today. I wish you guys the best of luck. And
Thank you,
I
sir.
really hope that for not only your benefit, USX Cyber, but for all of the people who use software out there, that someone like you guys are providing security for those companies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on.